Amma ba'du. In this session now, inshallah, in dealing with the topic of the Nabi of Ar-Rahma, Al-Mustafa, Al-Amin, Al-Aqib, Al-Hashir, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we want to dispel the myth that a lot of non-Muslims have concerning the reality of the akhlaq of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. As we mentioned in the last session, a lot of these non-Muslims who think that our Nabi and our Rasul was a bloodthirsty monster, a barbaric. Some of them really believe that. It's a result of them being victims of their own ignorance, and it's a result of them being victims of the false propaganda, what the media wants to spread about him, the idea that the media wants these people to know about, what they want the people to comprehend and to understand. But the reality of the issue is, if anybody took the time out to read the Quran with sincerity and with a balanced eye, if anyone was fair and just, he had al-adl and insaf. If he came and he read the life of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would clearly see that he is the Nabi of Ar-Rahma, but especially dealing with this issue. And that's because the enemies that we're going to talk about right now are the people who wanted to kill him. The people who used to bite their fingernails and their fingertips every time something good would happen to the Prophet ﷺ or for Islam in the community. These people used to be upset. They plotted and they planned. They wanted to drop a boulder on his head. It wasn't people who just didn't like him because he wasn't from their tribe or they were jealous. No, these were people who wanted to extinguish the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the first thing that we want to mention is, if a person had the ability to get power over his enemy who tried to kill him, if a person had the ability, this guy, he was trying to do me in, and he really meant harm for me and my children and my family, he would have dealt with us and gotten rid of us. If it was up to him, he would have done that. But for some reason, I got power over him. If I said to him one time, okay, you can go, I forgive you, go about your business, you can go. If I did that one time, the society would say I'm a good guy. If it happened only once, the people would say this guy is on a high level of akhlaq. His enemy tried to harm him and he had a chance to get revenge, but he let him go. The people will say this person is a good guy. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as you're going to see, he did it multiple times. Not once, not twice, not three, not four, not five. He did it multiple times, to the degree that we can say that it is his sunnah to let people go who tried to kill him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the people who he ultimately killed, they really deserved it. They really deserved it, because he gave them multiple chances, like that one guy who was a poet. He used to make nasty poetry about Islam and about the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the Nabi caught him. The companions, they caught him. And then the Nabi said, well, you think I'm going to deal with you? How you think I'm going to deal with you? The man started saying, oh, Muhammad, I'm a respected person in my community. I'm not going to do this poetry about you anymore. I come from nobility. The Arabs respect me. They know me. And he started playing on the sentiments and the nice side of the Nabi. Rasulullah, keeping to the way he was, he let the guy go. He said, I'm going to let you go, but don't do that again. The Nabi gave him his freedom, and the man went back to what he was doing, making nasty poetry about the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying bad things about the religion of Islam. And then the Muslims caught him again. The Nabi said, what do you think I'm going to do to you now? The man said the same thing. I'm a good guy. I come from the Arabs. They respect me. Just let me go. I won't do it again. And the Prophet told him a very important hadith for us. He says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, la yuldagu mu'min min hufratin wahida marratain. The believer is not stung from the same hole twice. Someone, they come and they get your money by tricking you the first time. Okay, you got me that time. But the second time he tries to come and get you, part of having iman is not getting taken from your money the second time in the same way. Having proper iman is not falling for the same trick twice. So the point here in this hadith, why he said that, why did he say that? The believer is not stung from the same hole twice. Hey man, I let you go before, and you were saying some nasty things, and I let you go, and I could have dealt with you back then. But now, after you went back to what you were doing, I'm going to deal with you. So the man deserved it. And everybody who the Prophet dealt with like that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they deserved it. They deserved it. But most of the time, the asl with him, the way he was, he used to let people go. He used to let people go. Now, if he let his enemies go, what do you think was the case with people who are his followers, from the youngsters, his relatives? Like I told you, if a man got power over his enemies and he let them go just once, everybody's going to say that guy is a good guy. Because some of us, there are people who the blood that runs and circulates in our bodies, us right now, there are people who we know, the same blood that's in our bodies are in their bodies. And we can't forgive them for what happened. And they can't forgive us for what happened. The Nabi wasn't like that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not even with his enemies, as you're going to see multiple times, as you're going to see. So the first thing we want to establish, the rahmah of the Nabi with his enemies. We have to again take the Quran and take the Sunnah. Let us take a quick look at the many ayat that Allah Ta'ala described the condition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with those kuffar. He said about him, فَلَا تَذْهَبْ نَفْسُكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَسَرَاتٍ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ. Ya Muhammad, don't allow your nafs, don't allow yourself to be destroyed worrying about these people, hasaratin. Don't let that happen. Allah knows what they're doing. That ayah goes to show that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to be upset. He was agitated. He wasn't happy that the people didn't accept his religion and his da'wah. He wanted the da'wah for the people. Allah mentioned in another of the many ayat, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. It may be, Ya Muhammad, that you will worry yourself to death. You will die worrying that they don't believe in this hadith, this Quran and the Sunnah and the da'wah that if you keep it up, you may worry yourself until you die that they don't believe in this. That goes to show clearly that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to want al-hidayah for his people. You're on the Sunnah, alhamdulillah. We're on the Sunnah, alhamdulillah. We're practicing, alhamdulillah. When you see people who are not on the Sunnah, when you see people who are not practicing, it is not from the Sunnah of the Nabi of al-Rahmah to hope that people go more astray, to be happy that people are off of it. Again, I got to reference this back, Ikhwani, because Masjid Khalid ibn Walid is a masjid that is and should be on the Sunnah, the way of Ahlul Hadith, Ahlul Sunnah, the da'wah of the Salaf. You see someone who's not on the da'wah of the Salaf, you shouldn't be happy about that. Rough and tough with him. You should hope and want that people come to the Sunnah. And if you see scholars, I don't care, if you see scholars who are cultivating people on hatred, all they hate are people of the Sunnah and Muslims, if you see people doing that and people are following them in that, then we have to run away from that issue, because that is not a Salafiyah. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted hidayah for people. So there are a number of ayat that show that. How the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to be worried about his people and the condition of his people. He was not happy. The Jewish boy. He had a Jewish boy who was his khadim. Jewish boy wasn't the Nabi. He wasn't a Muslim. He used to take care of the Nabi. Now when the Jewish boy goes back to his father, the Jewish boy is always telling his father, Muhammad is good to me, Muhammad is nice, Muhammad is gentle. Anas ibn Malik, who was also a khadim of the Nabi, he said, I served him, I took care of him for 10 years. Not once did he say to me, why did you do that for something I did? Not once did he say to me, why didn't you do that for something that I didn't do? Me being a father, I can't imagine that. Because almost every day I have to say to my daughter Arwa, why did you do that? I have to say to Muawiyah, why didn't you do that? I have to say to Abdullah all the time, why did you put the gum in your sister's hair? I have to say that all the time with them. I can't imagine how the Nabi can be with someone young like that and never say to him, why did you do this or why didn't you do that? The Jew, he experienced that. He became sick, and the Nabi took the time out of his busy schedule to go visit that Jewish boy. And he told that Jewish boy, accept Islam, accept Islam. Jewish boy looked at his father. The father said, obey Abu Qasim. The Jewish boy became a Muslim. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam praised Allah and said, all praise to Allah who guided him and saved him because of me, with me, becoming a Muslim. He could have said, this little boy, if he dies, he's from the people of Fitra. He's young, no problem. He's a Jew, I don't care any. He could have said that. That wasn't his da'wah. His da'wah was that he wanted al-hidayah for everybody, everybody. For Quraysh, for the Arabs, for the Ajami, for everybody. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. Now looking at this situation concerning the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one of the things that happened consistently with him is how he used to make dua for his enemies. Consistently. Abu Huraira's mother used to say some terrible things to her son about the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the point that Abu Huraira used to get so upset with his mother that he would cry. He would have to leave the house. So the effect and the impact of Abu Huraira hearing insults and disparaging remarks about the Nabi caused him to be affected, and he cried. He left the house. He went to the Nabi. Why are you crying, Abu Huraira? Ya Rasulullah, my mother, she keeps saying nasty things about you. I can't take it anymore. You can't imagine the things that she says about you. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows what she's saying is not true. He knows whatever she's saying is not true. Whatever they're saying about him is not true. So as a Muslim, you have to rectify the situation in a way that's appropriate. Abu Huraira could have poked his mother in the eye. Abu Huraira could have punched his mother in the face. Abu Huraira could have choked his mother to solve the problem. You're talking about the Nabi, I'm going to burn you down within the house. I'm going to burn the flag. I'm going to storm your embassy. He could have did all of that. But all he had was just, I'm going to cry. And he went to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Nabi said, go back to your mother, Abu Huraira. He went back to his mother to find his mother making a ghusl, because the Nabi made dua for the mother of Abu Huraira, who was insulting him and cursing him with words that caused Abu Huraira, he's the Imam of al-Hadith. He collected the majority of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the exception of Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As. And the effect of someone talking against the Sunnah and about the Sunnah, it affected him naturally to the point he cried. He didn't say, oh, it's just the Sunnah, oh, it's just kalam, oh, it's not true. It affected him. So the Nabi made dua for the mother to Allah, and she was guided. He didn't ask Allah, break her back. He didn't ask Allah, put in the hellfire. Another authentic hadith, Sahih Muslim, Abu Huraira narrated that hadith. He said that some people came and said, Ya Rasulullah, udu'ullah, and yu'adhib al-mushrikeen lana, فَإِنَّهُمْ يُعَذِّبُونَنَا تَعْذِيبًا. Ask Allah to punish those mushrikeen because they've really given us a lot of problems. The people started sitting and they got ready to make the dua to say, Ameen, Ameen. The Prophet told them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Inni lam ub'ath la'anan wa innama bu'ithtu rahmatan. I have not been sent to curse the people. I've been sent as a rahmah for the people. The companion of Tufail ibn Amr radiyallahu anhu, he came to the Nabi. He started complaining to the Nabi about what was happening with the tribe of Ad-Daws. Ad-Daws was going crazy. People were embracing Islam. People who lived in their area, they were killing Muslims left, right, and center because they were becoming Muslims. At-Tufail came to the Nabi, and he was one of the companions who lived the longest. At-Tufail ibn Amr. Ya Rasulullah, you won't believe what Daws is doing. They've disobeyed Allah. They've disobeyed His Messenger. They have gone beyond the limits. Make dua against the Daws. And he had a dua that was mustajab. Instead of making dua against them, he says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Allahumma ihdi Dawsan wa'ti bihim. Oh Allah, guide them and bring them to me. And they embraced Islam. Not once, not twice. The third group of people, the tribe of Thaqif, big tribe of Arabia. Those people, when you accepted Islam and you're from Bani Thaqif, they would take you and throw you in the boiling water, and throw you in the hot zayt, in the oil. They were burning people alive at the stake if you became a Muslim. So some of their countrymen came and said, Ya Rasulullah, Thaqif, they are burning us. They're burning us alive. You got to get them. Ask Allah to get them. The Nabi again, he made dua, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, Allahumma ihdi faqifan wa'ti bihim. Guide them and bring them to me. And they became Muslims. Over and over and over. Today we talked about the khutbah about the munafiq. The munafiqun. The leader of the munafiqeen during the time of the Nabi, his name was Abdullah ibn Ubay. Or Ubay ibn Abdullah ibn Sulul. He was a problem. Hudayf ibn al-Yaman, he knew the names of all of the munafiqeen. But everybody knew that this man was a munafiq. Everybody knew. Because he used to always make trouble. He used to always make statements of kufr. He used to always say nasty things about the Nabi. Rasulullah would ride on his horse or his camel or his donkey, and that munafiq was sitting there with some of the chiefs. Rasulullah would ride close to them. The man would say, hey Muhammad, get out of here, you and the stinky horse. You stinking up our majlis, our assembly. No one says that to the Nabi except a kafir. If you said that to the Nabi, get out of here with your stinking horse, that's a dalil, you a kafir billahi. If you took Sahih al-Bukhari, a book of hadith, and you said, get this junk out of here, and you threw it, that's an action of kufr. We have to look, is he drunk? Is he crazy? Is he a brand new Muslim that doesn't have a clue? Because a person with iman wouldn't do something like that. So everybody knew that this man was a criminal. He finally died. And when he died, it was a relief for some of the Muslims. His son, who was a good companion, Abdullah, his son, a good companion, he came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, let me have your shirt. Let me have your shirt. I want to take your shirt and bury it with my father for some barakah, tabarruk. And there is barakah in the clothes of the Nabi, in his water, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in his sweat. Ahlus Sunnah, we believe in at-Tabarruk. But that's from him doing his time. As for someone coming in this door right now telling us, hey, this piece of hair belonged to the Nabi. Line up, and everybody come touch their hair. And then when you line up, everybody give me $10. There are people who believe in that. Or the sheikh comes and he has his water, he leaves the water after he gets up and he left. Everybody's going to fight for his water. Now, we don't believe in that. That's not our religion. With the Nabi, yes. Not with these other people. The boy said, let me have your shirt. The Nabi said, okay, here's the shirt. Bury your father with it. And the Nabi knows that he's a munafiq. Umar radiallahu anhu, he didn't like that. He was from the muhaddithin. If there was a Nabi after the Rasul, it would have been Umar radiallahu anhu. The boy came and said, Ya Rasulullah, leave the salat over my father, please. Leave the janazah. The Nabi said, okay. Umar said, don't do it, Ya Rasulullah. Allah said, don't do it. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah Ta'ala mentioned, Istaghfir lahum aw la tastaghfir lahum, in tastaghfir lahum 70 marratan falan yaghfirullahu lahum. ذلك بأنهم كفروا بالله ورسوله والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. If you ask for Allah to forgive them, or you don't ask Allah to forgive them, if you ask Allah to forgive them 70 times, Allah will never forgive them. And that's because they are people who are fasiqun. Allah doesn't guide those people. Umar said, Ya Rasulullah, Allah said that don't make istighfar. The Nabi said, Allah told me if I ask 70 times, He won't forgive him. I'm going to do more than 70. I'm going to do more than 70. That man was a troublemaker. And then Allah revealed those other ayat. وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ. Don't make salat over any of them, Ya Muhammad. وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَىٰ قَبْرِهِ إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. Don't ever make salat over any of those munafiqeen. And don't stand over their grave. None of them. And that's because they disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. They're kuffar and they died as kuffar. You can't make salat over the kuffar. You can't go in our efforts, ikhwani, to do community cohesion. We give da'wah to the kuffar. We give da'wah to them in a way that Islam allows. Again, we don't go community cohesion and we pray with them when they pray into Isa. We participate with them in their janazah. You can't pray over them ever. So the point here is, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's going to pray over that munafiq who caused all that trouble until Allah told him, don't do it. Don't do it. Another of the many examples, ikhwani, of how he had mercy over his enemies, in addition to those ayat that showed us his state of mind. He was sad that his people didn't embrace Islam. In addition to the fact that he made dua over them and for them over and over again. In addition to that, real situations when he just let them go. Sahih Bukhari and Muslim, Jabir ibn Abdullah said that they were traveling with the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they became tired, so he decided to take a rest, and everyone took their place to rest, and the Nabi took his sword off and he tied it on a tree, and he lied down under the tree and he went to sleep. He said while he was sleeping on his back, incapacitated, a Bedouin came, and he was an enemy of the Muslims, and he snuck up behind the Nabi while he was sleeping. The Bedouin took the sword and he took it out of the sheath, and he had it over the neck of the Nabi. The Nabi woke up only to find that the kafir, the man, was over him. Now for those people who believe that the Nabi is Hazir Nazir, he knows the ilm al-ghayb. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, how did he not know that the man was coming? How did he not know that the man was trying to do away with him? He is a human being like everybody else. The man said to him, Ya Muhammad, who's going to protect you now from me? I got you now. I'm getting ready to do you right now. The Nabi told him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah, Allah, Allah. And the sword fell out of the man's hands. And this is one of the dalils that the scholars use to show that Allah is the Ismullah al-A'zam. And there are other dalils for that. The sword fell out of his hand. The Nabi jumped up real quick and got the sword and put the sword on the man, and now the tables are turned. The Nabi said, now you, who's going to protect you from me? The man said, take it easy, Muhammad. Hold on. Don't do anything. The Nabi said, do you bear witness, La ilaha illallah? The man said, La wallahi. But I promise you, if you let me go, I won't fight against you anymore, and I won't fight with the people who fight against you. The Nabi let the man go. He let the man go. The man went to his people and told them the story. The people became Muslims because they said that's the akhlaq of a person who is not the normal thing that the Arabs know. That's the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And here we are, our shabab, our community. These people are oppressing the Muslims all over the world, and any Muslim who tries to come and reject that fact in an attempt to be moderate, in an attempt to get away from extremism and radicalism, we're going to go the other extreme way and act as if these people love us, and as if these people are being nice to us. These people are oppressing us, taking our lands, our money, the foreign policy, all kind of problems. So their dhulm is there. Their dhulm is there. But their dhulm doesn't give us the right to make dhulm and to go crazy and to give a bad picture about Islam. It's a simple message. Deal with their dhulm with hikmah, with the religion. What's going to bring the best results out of how we deal with them? That's the question that we have to ask ourselves. And if we're just people who are emotional like women, تَتَحَكَّمُ فِينَا أَعْصَابُنَا وَأَوَاطِفُنَا. The thing that drives us, my emotions, my anger, like women. Not putting women down, but that's how Allah created many women. The lady, she's just emotional. The man is not like that. He looks at that situation and he evaluates it and he says, what is the best way of dealing with this? Sometimes the best way is being shadid. Sometimes the best way is walking away. Sometimes the best way is doing this or doing that. But with knowledge, that's how it's determined. So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his rahmah to that man, I told you, not once, not twice, not three times, it was his sunnah. Another example, Sahih Bukhari, there was a man, his name was Usamah ibn Uthal. He was the chief of the tribe Bani Hanif. He was another monster in Jahiliyyah. A monster. If he got a whiff or an inkling that you and your family were going to become Muslims, he would come and get you, put you in slavery, take your women, kill you. He was killing his people. He would gather them together and tell them, anybody who accepts Islam, waylaka, waylaka. He was a monster before Islam. He was on his way to perform al-Hajj. And even in Jahiliyyah, what they used to do is, if they were going to perform Hajj at the Baytullah, they wouldn't bring with them weapons out of respect. You can travel, and if you were a pilgrim making Umrah or al-Hajj, the other Arabs will leave you alone. Even if they had beef with you, they will leave you alone. And the person paying homage to the Kaaba with ikhlas, he would go and he wouldn't bring his weapons. So this man Usamah was on his way to perform Umrah, and he made an oath to perform Umrah to Allah that he's going to perform Umrah, and he's mushrik kafir. On his way, some of the Muslims that the Nabi sent out of Medina go and look around and search outside, make sure Medina is safe. They found that man and they caught him, and they brought him to the masjid. The Prophet said, tie him up to the masjid, tie him up to the pillar of the masjid. And Nabi could have put him anywhere in the community. Could have put him in Abu Bakr's house. He could have put him where he used to keep the camels for zakat. He could have put him anywhere. He said, tie him up in the masjid. They tied him up in the masjid. The Nabi came to him the first day. He said, hey, Usamah, how you doing? What's your situation? Usamah said, Ya Muhammad, if you kill me because of all of what I did, I killed your companions, I was a monster. If you decide to kill me, you'll kill someone whose blood is important. If you want to ransom me, want money, ask any price, I pay it to you. And if you just let me go, I'll be shakir, very grateful. The Nabi, without saying anything else, left the man, went to his family. He didn't go to anyone else, he went to his family. He said to his family, make that man some food. An example for the people. He went to his family, you people, make that man some food. They didn't hardly have any food anyway. Rahmah to the Asir. The guy is a prisoner. Gaddafi is a kafir. Gaddafi is a kafir because of what he believes and what he said. Gaddafi caused a lot of problems in the lives of a lot of Muslims. Only Allah knows what the judgment is going to be with Gaddafi Yawm al-Qiyamah. So many people, he broke up their families. So many people came to the UK, Libyans. They came to this country. They can't go back to Libya. Didn't see their mothers, fathers 20, 30 years, and they died without seeing them. Gaddafi. When they caught Gaddafi, when they caught him, on the YouTube, you'll see Gaddafi, when they caught him, he was doing like this, saying, that's haram. That's haram. Yeah, that was haram. They was stabbing him in his buttocks with a knife. They was stabbing him in his butt with a knife. And that is haram. That's haram. But what Gaddafi did was also haram. But look, this is how we are. Africans, Arabs, people of color. We have very hot blood. They couldn't relax. Hey, you Libyans, the world is watching. The world is watching. He's an asir. He's a captive. Kuffar, they have laws about this. You think our religion doesn't have laws? We get all riled up and pow, they shoot the man in front of the whole world. And then the political groups, the jama'at of siyasa, they say that's okay, it's okay. No, it's not okay. The prisoner has rights in Islam, even if he was a monster, even if he was a kafir. That's not the way you treat the prisoner. That man was a prisoner, Usamah. The Nabi told him that. They brought him the drink. The second day he came out, Usamah, what's your situation? He said, just like I told you yesterday, Ya Muhammad, you kill me, you kill an important person. You want ransom, give any money, I'll give to you. You let me go, I'll be shakir. He didn't say anything else. Get him at some food. Third day, same thing, what's your situation? He gave the same answer. Ya Muhammad, disrespect. Ya Muhammad, you kill me, did it. The Nabi said, let that man go. Let him go. He was killing my companions. Let him go. Let him go free. No muqabil, nothing in return, nothing. The man left, he went out on his own, he took a ghusl without being told, took a ghusl on his own. Came back to the Nabi and he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Nabi, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Ya Rasulallah, Before that, he was saying, Ya Muhammad, Ya Muhammad, Ya Muhammad, calling him by his name when he was a kafir. When he became a Muslim, he said, Ya Rasulallah. There was never a deen that I hated more than your deen. Now your deen is the most beloved deen to me. There was never a face that I hated more than your face. Now your face is the most beloved face to me. Ya Rasulullah, there was never a city more than your city that I hated. Now your Medina is the most beloved Medina to me. And there was a long discourse between them, a lot of kalam, a lot. The Nabi said, bring some food for Thumama. The first two days, they gave Thumama some milk. He drank one bowl, he licked the milk. They gave him a second bowl, third, fourth, 5, 6, 7. The second day, 7 bowls. The third day after becoming a Muslim, they gave him some milk. He drank the first bowl. They gave him the second bowl. He said, I'm full. Shibit, that's it. The Nabi started smiling. They said, what are you smiling for, Ya Rasulullah? He told the people, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, verily the kafir or the munafiq, he eats for 7 intestines. And the believer eats for 1 intestine. The kafir, when he eats, he doesn't care about anybody else. He doesn't care that there are other people who are needy, other people. His issue is me, myself, and I. But when that man became a Muslim, he realized it's not just about me. So the point here is, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam let that man go, and he was someone who was killing his companions. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't sit that man down and tell him Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, Tawheed al-Asma' was-Sifat. The arkan of al-Iman are 6. The arkan of al-Islam are 5. He didn't tell him any of that. His da'wah to that man was what that man saw in the masjid between the Muslims. Again, we have to tell the kuffar, don't look at the Muslims, don't look at us. Look at the Quran and the Sunnah and the way the companions practice the Quran and the Sunnah. Because if you look at us, you're going to get different interpretations of Islam. These ones over here, they hate the companions. Those ones over there, they go overboard in the companions. These ones over there, they don't wear hijab. This one over here, they don't have to do this and they don't have. This one over here, they're racist. So that goes to show, Ikhwani, again, we do have a responsibility as Somalis. We have a responsibility as Somalis. Some people don't like to say it, but it's just like that. And I hope it's not from lack of wisdom saying this, but it is the truth. As an African American, my people give people a certain image about them. It's not fair to judge all of us the same way because we're all not the same. All Somalis are not the same. But again, when non-Muslims look at us, what happened to our country, how we are here, they say, if these people were really on the religion of truth, if they really follow the Nabi of Ar-Rahmah, then why are their children like that? Then why are they doing these things? Then why are we finding their country like that? Last week in the UK, non-Muslims had a meeting about our country. About our country. So this issue with Thumama radiallahu anhu, clear example of how the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam consistently let his enemies go. Another example, our mother Aisha said, pay attention to this, Ikhwani. Everybody know the story. Ya Rasulullah, did you ever see a day that was worse than the day of Uhud? Since you were given dawah, did you ever see a day that was more heavier on you? The impact, it was a darker day than the day of Uhud. Uhud was the day in which 70 of the companions were killed. 64, hey, you young brothers, 64 were from the Ansar and 6 were from the Muhajirin. So that's a total of what? 64 and 6. How much is that? 70. So you have to know math in the masjid and math in the school as well. 64 from the Ansar and 6 from the Muhajirin. From the Muhajirin was the Sayyid of the Shuhada. What's his name? Who's the Sayyid of the Shuhada? Hamza is the uncle of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was killed on the day of Uhud. Musab ibn Umair, killed on the day of Uhud. Did you ever see a day bigger than that, worse than that, heavier than that? They killed Hamza and they cut him up. They mutilated him. They cut his ears off. They cut his nose off. They cut his mouth and opened up his mouth so that this was open. They opened him up and took his intestines out and threw them all over the place. The Nabi came and he saw his uncle Hamza. He said, Wallahi, Wallahi, if it wasn't for your sister, my aunt Sophia, if it wasn't for her, that I know she's going to come see you like this, I would leave you like this so that the wild birds can come and eat you, and then when you're raised up, Yawm al-Qiyamah, you'll come out of their stomachs. Authentic hadith. He didn't want Sophia to see her brother like that though. Rahma for his ammatohu, for his auntie. Took into consideration the feelings. But can you imagine that sight? Can you imagine that sight though? Now I have to ask the question again. People who explode and detonate bombs in Somalia, in Iraq, or anywhere, Muslims who detonate bombs, and I don't believe it's always Muslims, but there are people who believe this is okay. Someone detonates a bomb in Somalia, and we have people looking like this. We say, hey, where's the rahmah of the Muslims on the Muslims? What kind of religion are you on? What kind of tasawwur? What's your comprehension of this religion? They're Shiite and we're Sunnis in Iraq. Even if they're Shiite, and I don't like Shiitism, they're ignorant, most of those people, and they don't go outside of the religion of Islam. And by what intellect are you using to blow up people like that? The bomb doesn't distinguish who's Shiite and who's not Shiite. So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Aisha, yes, there was one day that was heavier than this day, one day. And that was when I was in Mecca and I presented myself to some of the tribes in the southern part of Mecca, outside of Mecca. He said, I went all by myself to give them dawah to Islam. Now, Ikhwani, this series is called the Nabi of Ar-Rahmah. We can do another series at some time called the Nabi of Bravery. He went by himself to give some hostile people dawah ilallah by himself. That's not an easy issue. Some of us have relatives who don't practice, and we never say to them, hey, I want to come and visit you, and you're going to take that as an opportunity to give them dawah ilallah. Our own children, some of us won't even sit them down. Not to mention the people we work with, we go to school with, and so forth and so on. The Nabi went to those people. He said, I called them to la ilaha illallah. He was articulate. He knew what he was talking about. He didn't want anything from them. He said all of the right things, and he didn't compel them. He didn't force them. After he finished, they told him, okay, you can leave. When he left, those people, instead of just letting them leave honorably, as he came honorably, they said to the youngsters, hey, go and throw rocks at him. They went and they threw the rocks at the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said to Aisha, they hit me all over my head. The blood came all the way down my face, and it went into my shoe, and it became congealed in my shoe. It was stuck in my shoe. It was so much blood. He said, I was walking and I was mahmoom. I was walking and I was upset. Upset about what? He wasn't mad at them. He was upset that they didn't accept his dawah. He said, I looked up and there was the cloud shading me from the sun. And there was Jibril. Jibril said, Ya Muhammad, Salaamu Alaikum, Wa Alaikum Salam. He said, over there, that's the angel of these mountains over here. He gives you salams. The angel came and gave him salams. The angel said, Ya Muhammad, all you have to do is order, and I'm going to take these mountains and I'm going to smash those people. Now again, Ikhwani, I don't know. I tell you, I don't know. Where I came from, you can't step on my sneakers. You can't step on my foot. If I'm on the bus, you can't come in. On the airplane coming over here, I was fighting the man for the thing. I'm fighting him because he had an attitude and he's putting his hand here and making things difficult for me. I tried to let him have it for some time, but he was going overboard. I'm not saying this because I'm bragging. I'm telling you what time it is. The man is giving me a hard time. So I had to show him, hey man, you better stop doing that. The angel told me, if you want, that I'll just smash him with the mountain and hit you in your head with these rocks. He said, La. أرجو أن يخرج الله تعالى من أصلابهم من يعبد الله ولا يشرك به شيئا اللهم اغفر لقومي فإنهم لا يعلمون. I hope that Allah brings from their loins, Allah brings from the mother and the fathers some children who worship Allah alone and they don't make any shirk with Allah. Don't crush them. And that's what happened. Those people became Muslims. He was a rahmah, wallahi, he was a rahmah. His dawah was for Allah. If his dawah was for himself, he would have told that angel, yeah, deal with them. Speaking about this issue of Uhud, there's another example. The day that Mecca was conquered. From the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that some people, they have this nostalgic idea about jihad and they just kalam. Jihad, it is about the saving of life. A jihad is about establishing a tawheed and the ibadah of Allah. Jihad is not about blood, blowing people up, just killing people. Jihad is for Allah. It's about making the ultimate sacrifice to protect the deen and to have people worshiping Allah. And therefore the scholars wrote books about it, and it's all the books of hadith, because there's a way to do it. It's ahkam, it's knowledge. So some people think it's just romantic and nostalgic, and that's why it's easy for them to do crazy things. Because they're tasawwur. Those companions, when they would leave al-Madinah, it took a long time to get to where they were going. They were walking, riding. So there are a few issues that were allowed in jihad to keep people excited. Like what happened with Abu Dujana. The people were walking and they were tired. You have to walk 4 or 5 days, you're tired, your feet hurt, it's hot. So you get tired naturally. Abu Dujana would get on his horse and he would make his horse run in a way to show that he was a serious warrior. Like an arrogant way. Like those show horses, they do that trot. He would do that trot and he'd have his back straight and he have his sword. When the people sit there, the people, those Arabs, they start remembering their fathers and they were tired, but when they see that, they say, yeah, we ready again. We ready again. The Nabi said, anywhere other than the land of jihad, this type of riding is from the mutakabbirin. But at the land of jihad, it's okay. Because the people are tired. The psychology of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Nabi of psychology. Not this psychology, but dealing with how people think. Anyway, from these issues is something that happened at Uhud. The Ansar, on their way to Mecca. One of the Ansar said, hey, you people, you Ansar, do you remember the day of Uhud? Do you remember what they did to Hamza? Do you remember what they did to Musab ibn Umair? Do you remember? And then the people started getting upset. They started getting agitated. They remember Hamza and all of that. They remembered that. On the way, Allah revealed the ayat. He said in the Quran, in the famous ayat, when aqabtum fa'aqibu bimithli ma uqibtum bihi. If someone oppresses you, someone punishes you, punish them back with what they did to you. What they did to you, do it back to them. When the ayat was read, in the middle of all of this, someone from the Ansar said, Wallahi, no Quraysh after today. We're going to cut them up, and when we kill them, we're going to throw their stuff all over the place. Just the way they did to Hamza. And everybody was in the frenzy. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, La kufu anil qawm illa arba'a. Don't do that. Stop saying that. Don't kill anyone from the people. Just kill 4 people. 4 people and that's it. The 4 people that he allowed them to kill were 4 poets who used to write nasty things about the mahasin of his wives. They don't know his wives, but they used to write poetry describing the mahasin of the bodies of the mothers of the faithful. Nabi didn't play that stuff, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he told those people of Quraysh, he sent a message. We're coming there with an army, you can't fight against it. So, anyone who goes inside of the Kaaba, you're going to be saved. Anybody who goes in the house of Abu Sufyan, who's a non-Muslim that day, you're going to be saved. Anybody who goes outside the precincts of Mecca, you're going to be saved. I don't have any business with you. When the Nabi came to the Kaaba, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he opened up the Kaaba. Abdullah bin Abbas said he opened up the Kaaba, and when the door of the Kaaba opened, they saw that the mushrikeen were inside of there, and they knew it was it for them. Although he told them you'll be saved, they didn't have anywhere to go. They were in the Kaaba, and they remember what they did. The Nabi told them, get out, you can go. Ibn Abbas said when they came out and the sunlight hit them, It was as if they were sprouting, they were growing like plants. They just came back to life again. And the people embraced the religion of al-Islam because of the mu'amala of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were the people who kicked him out of Mecca. They were the people who killed his companions in the process. They were the people who confiscated the land and the wealth of the Muslims. They were the people who caused all these problems, made him go to Medina. And now when he came back, how did he come back? He came back into Medina riding his camel or his horse, and he had his face close to the neck of the horse, coming in with humility. He didn't come in arrogantly. He came in with humility. All of this is for Allah. This victory, this fath of Mecca is from Allah and for Allah. And he didn't go overboard. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. So the Nabi, he had a consistent pattern, ikhwani, of overlooking what his enemies did to him. خُذِ الْعَفُوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. And he used to do that. In the wars, they mutilated Hamza. The Nabi had rahmah on those non-Muslims in the war. He told the people, لا تمثلوا ولا تقتلوا الشيوخ ولا تقتلوا النساء ولا تقتلوا الولدان. Don't mutilate people. Don't kill women. Don't kill children. Don't kill the shiyukh. On the YouTube right now, there are some American soldiers right now on the YouTube. They sent a drone missile in Afghanistan and it killed some people. They have the bodies of some Taliban. I don't agree with the aqeedah of the Taliban. The aqeedah of the Taliban is not the aqeedah of Ahl Sunnah. But that's a different story for a different day. It's still their land. It's their sovereign land. And you don't have any business over there. And you're just making corruption, facade, and fitna. And you're killing innocent people. And you're terrorizing the people. The drone missile killed those Taliban and killed other people from the civilians. On the YouTube, they're showing the soldiers from America urinating on the bodies of the Taliban. Did you people see that? Urinating on the bodies of the Taliban. In al-Islam, a dead person, whether he's a Muslim or non-Muslim, he has a haqq. The Nabi told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kasru adam al-mayt ka kasrihi wa huwa al-hayy. Breaking the bones of a dead person while he's dead is like breaking his bone while he's living. So you can't sit on his grave. You can't walk on his grave. From the Sunnah, the Nabi used to take his shoes off when he walked through the graveyard out of respect for the dead people. The soldiers are urinating. And then, some years ago, they took a puppy. The American soldiers took a puppy and they threw the puppy over the ravine. And you could hear the puppy. The whole America got upset. Oh, the rights of the dog. The rights, they should be court-martialed. Oh, why did they do that with the puppy? No, in Islam, he was a rahmah to animals. We can give a talk. The rahmah of the Nabi to animals. Too many examples. But the rahmah to the animals and no rahmah to Bani Adam. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا Bani Adam. We honored Bani Adam. And Bani Adam is bigger than a dog, more important than a dog. So they have it backwards. And here we come apologizing for these issues. The Nabi was barbaric, and we apologize. He married the little girl. She was so young. Why? What? He didn't really marry her. You know, stop being on the back foot all the time. Stop being on the back foot. Yes, there's examples when the Nabi was tough with people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but more times than not, he gave them a break. And in every case, those people that he dealt with severely, they deserved it. They deserved it. So these are some of the examples, ikhwani, of how it's just a myth that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a warmongerer and his religion spread by the sword and people were compelled to embrace this religion. Our Nabi was not like that. And if you're a young person or you're a Muslim who you're giving people this picture of Islam, you're doing a disservice to Islam. And you're discrediting the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You dropped the ball. This is not the dawah that the Nabi was on. He's not on a dawah that tells us to apologize and acquiesce and lick the boots of people. That's not our dawah, licking people's boots. That's not our dawah. But his dawah was clearly a dawah that when people see it, even if they don't want to embrace it, they'll say, I'm not going to fight against you, and I won't fight with people who fight against you. Have respect for what you stand for and your principles. He was the Nabi of Ar-Rahmah. So this is our second session that we bring to a close. We didn't hold any Q&A for the last session. If you have any questions, inshallah, we do some Q&A for the next few minutes, inshallah. What time is the adhan for Salat al-Isha? 7:35. Like in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the adhan. Then inshallah we're going to bring this session to a close, and we'll continue, and hopefully tomorrow we'll deal with the Q&A. One last thing that one of the elders brought to my attention, and I thank him for bringing this to my attention. Every time I came here for the Salat of al-Jum'ah, I always call the Ma'lam Muhammad to come and stand behind me. And that's because he's the only Hafiz of the Quran that I know here. He's the only one that I know. I don't know the rest of the people. But there's a hadith in Sahih Muslim. Aisha said, Umirna an nunazzil an-nas manazilahum. We've been ordered to put the people in their right places. Your father is your father. He's not your kid. Your mother is your mother. Put her where she belongs. Even a non-Muslim who has a position, if he came here and he had a position, we're going to respect him as the leader of his people. He's the police chief, he's whatever, politician. Don't go overboard, but you respect people who have position. That's our religion. Some of these crazy people where we come from in the UK, a big minister, he was the minister of some big thing. The guy crashed the party. A revert brother crashed the party in front of everybody, the news, everyone. He was threatening the non-Muslims, saying, I want you to know that our Prophet Muhammad, he used to eat and drink blood of kuffar for breakfast. And he was arguing with the minister. And the minister was saying, take it easy, take it, do you have a pass? You see how these people are? And it's just an unbelievable state of affairs. The Nabi's Sunnah is to drink the blood of kuffar for breakfast. Ya akhi, don't you know what that's doing? We're going to respect that man in our religion. So anyway, our elder, he came and he said, Abu, we have some huffaz who are the shuyukh and the teachers of Ma'lam Muhammad. So maybe you don't know, and I didn't know. Just as Ma'lam Muhammad, he has students from these younger brothers, I wouldn't say to the young man, hey, you come, and his Mu'allim Muhammad, he's there. I wouldn't say that. And since he has shuyukh, it's only because I didn't know, that's all. So I don't want any of our shuyukh from the Hufad, akramakumullah, I didn't want any of them to be like, what's up with this guy? He's talking about the Rahmah, where's the Rahmah? So we acknowledge your positions. And may Allah Ta'ala bless this community for producing all of those Hufad. Salam.